All right, what's up, family? Let's go with a current event today about this Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever this clown want to keep changing his name on some dumb junk. But anyway, y'all see now the charges that they charged him with, he didn't get charged with all accounts. He got charged with 2 out of the 5 accounts. But one of the most common ones he got charged with was called the Mann Act. See, they charged him with the Mann Act, meaning transporting women across state line. But let me tell you about the Mann Act. The Mann Act was created in 1910. And you know why it was created? They made it up. And you know why they made it up? Because a black man had white women, and they hate that. They hate to see a black man with a white woman. And know who that black man was? Jack Johnson. See, that was around the time when Jack Johnson became the heavyweight champion of the world, and he used to flaunt around with white women, and they hated that. They hated to see a white woman with a black man, so they made up a law to say, let's make up a law called the Mann Act, where he can't transport women across state line. Let me explain to you what that means, the stupidity of that law. That means you meet a woman in just like you meet her anywhere. You meet her in this town or that town, and then y'all have a good time or whatever, and then it's consensual, and then you go, hey, would you like to come back to my house or hotel or whatever the case, right? But they say, oh, we're gonna make up a law to say that's a crime, that she came with you and y'all crossed state line, and it's called the Mann Act. So like I said, where did that law originally come from? It came from because they didn't like to see black men with white women. Matter of fact, let me prove it to you.
European.
Yeah, thank you. That's the best way to put it. They didn't want to see European women with black men. Now, let me give you the actual facts. Here it is. Historically, the Mann Act was used in a case like that of Jack Johnson. Remember I said about the boxer? Goes back to one of my favorite videos, my top 5 greatest boxers of all time. Jack Johnson is in that top 5 of mine. But anyway, let me go back again. Historically, the Mann Act was used in a case like that of Jack Johnson, where race was a factor, and Chuck Berry, remember, they got him on them charges too, and Chuck Berry, who was convicted under the act. See, Chuck Berry was another one known for being with European American women, right? AKA, as they love to say that stupid junk, white women. So they made it to where it's a crime. They just made up a law out of thin air. They made it up, all behind black men. And then, you know, they try to say Sam Cooke and all this. They always try to put all this negative crap on black folks, just like they try to make Bill Cosby the face of, you know, that nonsense charges, saying rape or whatever other stuff. They try to make R. Kelly the face of. They always try to go, but whatever happened to Weinstein? Whatever happened to all these jokers, these gurus, all these Hollywood jokers, all these jokers that own all this, what's that,
Abercrombie, however you pronounce it.
All these cats, they got history of doing this nonsense, but somehow they was able to just pay $5 million, and the case got swept under the rug. We don't hear about it no more. But Sean Combs, he offered to pay 10 times more what they offered, and they said, no, we're not going to take it. We're going to let you be the face of this nonsense, the Mann Act. But let me go a little further, because like I said, Jack Johnson is the real reason they created that bull crap law, because they said they didn't like the fact that this black man was dating these white women. You know how racist the world would be.
European.
The European, they ain't like that this black man was dating these Europeans. And y'all know how it go. They call them, let me tell you how bad the Mann Act was. So they'll say, if you transporting a woman across state line for sexual activities, that's a crime. Even if the woman consents to it. Now they say that they would use her as an accessory, as an accessory to the crime. Watch this. Let me read you a little bit more. What we got here? In addition to its stated purpose of I gotta make this bigger. Let me see. Let's go this way. Your phone don't do that. All right. Here we go. In addition to its stated purpose preventing human trafficking, the law was used to prosecute unlawful premarital sex, intermarital, and interracial. See, that's why they created it. Interracial relationships. The penalties would be applied to men whether or not the woman involved consented. And if she had consented, the woman could be considered an accessory to the offense. See, know what that means? See, what that means right there, they made it to where even if the white woman, European woman, said, no, it's consensual, they would call her, remember how European Americans, they come up with all these ugly names, call them an in lover, right? So they would say she's an in lover, and now we're gonna make it a crime against her and him. Because the truth of the matter, they really just didn't like the fact that European women was messing with black men. That's how they just made up this law called the Mann Act out of thin air. But anyway, let me get back to it. So now Combs got charged with 2 counts, and the main one being debauchery of the Mann Act. Matter of fact, that could be the word of the day, debauchery. You know what debauchery means? That's what they charging them with. Debauchery means to have overindulgence in the body, particularly sexual, like fantasies and sexual desires and stuff. So they getting him on that debauchery charges and the Mann Act. That's what this is. But see, like I said, let's go back to it again. What happened to Weinstein, the Al Pastel guy, and all of Hollywood? Because remember, like I said before, in Hollywood, you don't get this status because you're talented. You get picked because you chose to go in that back room. You chose to do ungodly things, debauchery things with other people, with rather they elderly people or young people. You chose this, what they said you have to do. So whenever you see these celebrities, movie after movie after movie after movie, commercial deals, show after show, those are the ones. Because it's a damn shame they don't get all those multiple deals because they talented. No, they get the multiple deals because they decided to go in the back room with the Hollywood disgusting people and say, yeah, I'm willing to play ball. I'm willing to play with balls. I'm willing to do all this nonsense just to make my career like this. So think about what I'm saying. Anytime you see your favorite celebrity, show after show, movie after movie, you be like, dang, this Joker and everything. You see some of them now, like it's one of my favorite actors. Remember my man from, I forgot how to say his name. He's in everything all of a sudden. I mean, he got a long career, but you notice how now, lately, it's like, God doggone it, this Joker in everything. It's ridiculous. But hey, like I said, we could keep going with this here. They try to make Puffy the face of this Mann Act, but look at all the history of America with doing this debauchery stuff. And it was always okay when it was European Americans, but when black people do it, it's like, oh, it's a crime.
Babe, you know what? Every time I hear that they always trying to condemn our people, make them guilty as for even the smallest thing.
Yeah.
It brings me back in the days. Remember when this lady went to the judge asking for mercy, asking for help because her husband was beating her, was being abused. Even brought her little girl.
Oh,
remember
the
that
documentary we watched.
Yeah,
yes.
The little girl was with actually scars.
Watch this. What my wife is talking about, it was a documentary. It's like the history of America, violence and the history of American history, violence, or something like that. It was an actual documentary. And what my wife is talking about in this case here, it showed a man in court as a plaintiff against his wife, who was a defendant. His wife was battered and bruised, and she had like her little 5-6-year-old little daughter holding her hand, and the little daughter had all kind of bruises on her. She had bite marks with skin missing, where her father repeatedly ate, rape, his own daughter multiple times and the wife and beat her. And you know what the judge said?
A European judge was actually saying,
when it's them, they always find a way to make excuses for them. Look what the judge, who's supposed to be to hold up the balance of law. Look what the judge told the lady. She had all these bruises. The little girl had bite marks out of her skin, like holes where the father bit through her. And the judge, who's supposed to uphold the law, you know what he said? He told the defendant, which is the lady, and the daughter who was in court, bruised and scared and battered and crying, and the wife, he told her, hey, well, listen, isn't that your husband? You're supposed to listen to your husband. Threw the case out. Know why? Because back then they had an actual law that said a man could beat his woman with any object long as it was no thicker than his thumb. Now you tell me how nonsense this is. They've been doing this debauchery and ruthless crap, nefarious crap since forever. But anytime somebody else of a person of color even dib and dabble in it, they go, oh, it's a crime. But as long as the European jokers do it, oh, it's totally fine. Because you think about it, how in the hell it is a law that a man could beat his woman senseless with any blunt object, long as it's no thicker than his thumb. And they say that was a law back then. This shows you how corrupt and nonsense is that they make excuses for European people, and they find a way for them to get off all the time. But when it's anybody else, it's like, oh no, that's a crime. You're gonna make up a law to say this is a crime when you do it.
Exactly. And that's injustice.
Mm-hmm.
They're so hypocritical.
Very.
You know, trying to bring something that is like, what? But y'all doing the same thing?
Exactly. But it's a crime when you do it. But if we do it, oh no, we got excuses why we do it. But if you do it, no, that's a crime. Like I said, where we go? Remember, back then, Jack Johnson, let me read this for y'all. I'll give y'all the actual factual. Watch this. John Arthur Johnson, which is Jack Johnson, 1878 to June 10th, 1946. That's when he passed away. But look, nickname was Galveston Glant. Was an American boxer who, at the height of the Jim Crow era, became the first black heavyweight champion box champion. From 1908 to 1915. His 1910, remember that's when the Mann Act was created. His 1910 fight against James Jeffries was dubbed the fight of the century. Johnson defeated Jeffries, which was a right to trigger dozens of racial riots across the U.S., according to the film. And for more than 13 years, Jack Johnson was the most famous and the most notorious African American on earth. He is widely regarded as one of the most influential boxers in history. So when he was with all these European women, they was like, he's too much of an influence. He's gonna make other black people think that they could be with these white women. And we hate to see European women with black men. So we're gonna make up a law that says it's a crime for them to be with a European woman. And no, we're just gonna make it up out of thin air. We're gonna make it up and make it a crime for them and bring laws and criminal cases against them. But when the Europeans do it, it's totally fine and it's okay. And if they even do the most ruthless of things, like with the little girl and the mother, beat and abuse to the utmost disrespectful, nefarious way, we're gonna find a way to get them off. This shows you how foul the so-called judicial system is. But I never was a P. Diddy, Sean Combs, Puffy fan anyway. You could tell, like I said in my other video right here, he was always a scumbag, but that does not mean now y'all gonna make him the face of this. Because Weinstein, Hollywood, trust me, try to go to Hollywood and be successful. Watch, they're gonna tell you, you gotta do all kind of nefarious things to be successful. So once again, I'm gonna say it again. Find your favorite actor. When you see them in multiple movies, oh, they had to wear a dress, they had to go in the back room, they had to do some ungodly thing for their success. So don't ever look at another celebrity and go, man, I wish I had their life. You don't know what they had to do to get that. You know what they had to do? Essentially, they had to sell their soul to get their success.